we want to show respect to all of our creatures living and formerly living.
No, he looks great.
He didn't used to look like he had another leg.
Hey guys, it's Ryan from AMS. We're in Atlantic City, New Jersey at the Hard Rock Live, where we got a chance to catch up with our buddies in the Zac Brown Band. We talked to Matt about bass, we talked to Clay about guitars, and we got to drool over their rigs. We hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, it's Ryan from AMS. We're with Clay from the Zac Brown Band. We're at Hard Rock Live, and we're going to go through the rig. Before we get into the axe effects and everything else, let's look at the guitars because that's what we tune in to see. So,
yeah.
What's the main one for tonight?
Main one for the last 18 years has been the white Stratocaster. It's a 61. And it's got Curtis Novak pickups in it that had the pickups just had to be replaced.
Oh, really?
At a certain point.
Can we look at it? Or?
Yeah.
If I don't want to like touch your stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's pretty awesome.
I'll hold it for you while you.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
So what was wrong with the stock pickups? What was it?
I don't know. It's just
they're too loud, too noisy.
I honestly I'm not quite sure. They wouldn't work. So I got this thing for super cheap because the electronics didn't work. So, but man, I put a set of pickups in it, and Curtis is really good.
He makes great pickups.
Yeah, and we threw them on, and I've never looked back.
Really?
Yeah, it's been on every record we've ever made. And
so the one thing I always wonder, because there's 9 of you guys up there.
Yeah.
On any given night, there could be cover songs, there could be Zac Brown songs, there could be. Does he call an audible, and you guys have to react? Or yeah,
for sure.
So what do you do when that happens? Like, is there like a particular guitar you're like, all right, look, I can just rely on that, and I can make it through? Or
yeah, it's either that one or this is Zach's Tele. I'll show you this. This is a 53 Telecaster.
A real 53?
A real.
All right, then you hold that because it's above my pay grade.
It's fantastic guitar. So
that's awesome.
Most of the audibles that he chooses, I can get away with treating my Fractal rig like a pedal board and just kind of like just figuring it out. This is obviously the country machine.
Of course.
And so a lot of the audibles he chooses are like classic country songs or something like that.
Okay.
Some pedal steel licks. And then also like if you want to do some, emotive tremolo pad type of things.
So cool.
This is the everything guitar. Like I could play the whole show with this if I had to.
Isn't that funny that Leo Fender got it right in 1953?
I mean, and then he kept tinkering, and then we ended up with some funny, relatively funny things. People made some great noises with them.
Oh, for sure. But to think you could do a Merle Haggard song on that, and then if Zach said we're going to do Enter Sandman, and
if I had
hit a patch and you're ready to go.
If I had to, I mean, obviously. I break everything up between single coils and humbuckers. Enter Sandman's going to be a humbucker song.
I would hope so, yeah.
But in the past few tours, we've been doing
Eddie.
We've been doing the Jay. What do they call this one?
1979, I think.
The tribute.
Yeah. And this thing just sounds great saturated. It just does.
That's a rock machine.
Yeah. And
that's pretty flat too, huh? The radius on that.
It is. And honestly, it just on those types of songs, I usually don't need anything else but a humbucker with a volume knob. And even the volume knob's a little bit overkill sometimes.
So does it just make you play differently? Like if you're holding like an old Strat and then you pick that up, do you feel like you could play like a hot rod kind of vibe, or is it more like just for the sound?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I feel like I attack it differently just because the pickup's different, but then also both guitars are white Strat bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
This one just feels different.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's a lot more about it that's different, but it feels like I am a hot rod. I'm getting ready to hit the Sunset Strip on stage at.
And it's funny because when you strap one of those things on, it's so iconic, and you're already in an iconic band. So when you're up there on the stage, you kind of like people must go, "Oh, I know."
Yeah, and when you see guitar players do the finger point or like the thumbs up or something like that, you're like, "Yeah, I know, it's cool. I get it."
You ever fake them out and start to do eruption and then just stop?
No, not a lot of that on this stage. At all.
I would imagine everything's timed out. You got to make sure you're not goofing around.
Yeah, we're pretty tight.
We talked about the Frank Brothers guitar, which is kind of cool. Could we take a look at that if you don't mind?
This is one. And when you say Frank Brothers, they're all custom made. Oops.
Sorry, man. See,
Sorry.
everything was so neat and tidy until we got here.
All right. So
Oh, that's gorgeous.
the idea of a dual humbucker guitar. This is chambered. It's also got trapeze tailpiece, which, you know, being a traditional Les Paul player, you don't lean towards, but this one just is really great. It's just they make a fantastic guitar, and this one sounds good distorted. It sounds great clean.
And it's chambered, so you're not getting any sort of feedback issues?
No, none at all. Not at all.
And this is replaced. You said you were a Les Paul guy. You had a Les Paul, at least one in the rack.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's your...
And this is the one for this tour pretty much. Or the last couple, really, since I've had it.
That's super cool,
Maybe
man.
3 years.
I love the tortoiseshell. So did you get it first, and then Zach saw one, and he's like, I got to get one too?
Exact same time.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even sure his is out here.
Well, we can't touch his stuff.
Is Takumi not here? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So you got all your bases covered between single coil and obviously humbucker, and then of course you do a lot of acoustic stuff too.
There's
got a
also
PRS.
this.
Was that got a piezo?
It's a
out?
baritone.
Oh, cool.
And so Brent Mason plays one of these, and this is an SE. This is not like
Well, Paul's stuff is so good, man. Especially if you got a good guy setting it up, which you do.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that's awesome.
But yeah, I play it in the one sound, the single coil bridge pickup, the untapped, the tapped version, and
Right.
it just sounds right, like through what I would play a Tele through.
And are you using it for like heavy stuff, or is it more like you want like a clean, twangy kind
clean,
of
old school tic tac bass?
Okay,
or
so like an old Dan Electro kind of
yeah,
vibe.
yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That's what I played on the record, and this is what I play
a
out
little more
here.
reliable.
Yeah, and doesn't have any interference issues.
Yeah, those lipstick pickups can be a little finicky.
Ooh,
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
all about keeping it quiet. And you got a lap still there as well? What do we
No,
got?
this is Koi's. This is Koi's
Oh, okay.
Dobro.
Oh, that's right. He's you're
the-
charging him rent in your rack?
I do.
Good.
I did when we had these built. I did have a Dobro out here,
Okay.
and I haven't for the last few tours. But
You do have a mandolin.
This is been out since I've been out with Zach. So
Okay. What are we looking at here?
it's, 16
Oh, a Collings,
years. This
yeah.
is a Collings.
Oh, man, that's gorgeous.
And I think it's just a Fishman pickup. I don't think I've ever changed it.
And you haven't had to mess with it?
No, and Eric at front of house knows exactly what to do with it as far as EQ, and we've never had any issues with it.
And so for all of this stuff, like and we'll take a look at your rig upstairs, but when you're running, it's just a matter of having patches like, okay, here's the mandolin.
Well,
set or-
no, mandolin is literally like they
Direct.
unmute it. Yeah, it's direct to the wireless,
Okay.
and they just unmute it out front and so once they realize that everybody's good, he tunes it back here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very spoiled.
Yeah, man. Well, hey,
I'm
listen,
not
you
having
put
to
the
tune
effort in.
anything
Yeah.
here.
It's nice to have someone, especially with like octave strings and everything like that.
Yeah.
After a while, you're like, I can't even look at it.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I mean, it must be a luxury now with the way the Axe FX works, where you've got a rig where everything's loaded in, you got your sounds dialed in.
When I first tackled the Fractal thing, I wanted every song to have its own custom patch, and that just got too much tap dancey, and so I set it up more like a pedal board.
Okay.
And each guitar, and when I say guitar, it's labeled Tele, Strat, Les Paul,
Okay.
and then there's a heavy patch, and then a couple custom patches for songs that are very specific.
Oh, okay.
Like there's the song we have, Goodbye in Her Eyes, and I'm really doing my best to cop the edge.
Okay.
U2.
Got your delay and everything built in.
Oh, yeah. So they're all built in, and it's AC30s instead of like a deluxe reverb.
Okay.
And,
Right.
But with the same Stratocaster that I use on the Stratocaster patch.
And then, so like you said before, if Zach calls an audible,
Yeah.
you're ready to go. Like, okay, boom, boom. That's it.
Unless if it's something that Jason knows the song, what guitar I play on.
Okay.
If he knows which guitar it is, he'll grab it, hopefully tune it up and hand it up to me.
Yeah.
And we'll know what to do. And it's very quick on the audible. But if he picks something that like we haven't played ever or
Yeah.
whatever, like he'll just hand me the Telecaster.
So how do you, because it's like a team. I mean, there's 9 of you up there. When between you and Coy, how do you know when, it's not only when the audible is called, are you going to do this? Is it just intellect, like, all right, I'm going to cover this part, you cover that part, or is it more like?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he usually, since I'm kind of the closest person to him on stage, real estate-wise, most of the time, he'll come up to me and he'll say, I want to do this.
Right.
And then so I think to myself, on the way to the microphone to talk to the rest of the guys, which is a closed circuit, we've got a switch on the pedal board to where we can all communicate. And it's not coming out into the PA. Oh. And so I'll say, hey, he wants to do Merle Haggard's song or whatever, David Allan Coe,
Charlie Daniels.
Yeah. Something like that. And I would say, and I'm playing Telecaster, or I'm going to play Hammond, or I'm going to go back and play piano. And then everybody else just kind of figures it out from there.
So it goes like, there's a pecking order? Like, if Zach's calling an audible, you're the next to go, okay, I'm going to divvy it up this way, and everyone just...
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't even happen like that.
No,
sometimes Zach just turns around and tells everybody, and we just have to gravitate towards something.
But that's got to keep it fresh and exciting and terrifying.
Yes, it hasn't happened very much in the last couple of years. But, we did play something last night that we haven't played since 2018. Maybe.
I heard you doing Black Velvet, or what was it?
Oh, no, we did. We rehearsed that this year.
Okay.
Just because that's one that Caroline can sing and
it's a cool song.
Be featured on,
Yeah.
But we did Cover Me Up, Jason Isbell's song.
Yeah, he's great.
We just talked about it in vocal warm-ups. That's the best time to let us know what we're playing, and then we can go talk to Sweets, the drummer, and Danny, and let them know what they should be doing after we figure out the arrangement.
Right.
Sometimes we don't get that luxury and we just do it.
I guess it depends on the gig, right? Like if you're at a festival where you've got that, it's like we got a hard out. We can't dick around. We just got to make sure we get in and out. But that must be fun, just knowing at any given point, and you guys are able to pull it off. I think that's one thing that's a testament to the versatility of what you guys do. You could be pegged as a country band, but there's just so many other bases that you have to cover.
Yeah, it helps that everybody's a great musician, but it also really helps, and you can't quantify this, is that we've been playing together so long.
Yeah, how long has it been?
I've been here for 16 years.
Okay.
I still consider myself the new guy.
Yeah.
Though Matt's been here 11 years, maybe.
Okay, so he's technically the new guy.
Well, no, Caroline's been here 3 years.
Oh, she's the new guy.
Yeah, she's the new guy. But yeah, but the core of the band predates me, like I think when Sweets came in was a year before me, so 17 years.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's a tight unit.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we'll cover your amp rig and your pedal, because it doesn't seem like you have much in the way of like actual individual pedals.
None.
It's all Axe Effects.
Yeah, it's all Axe Effects. I get it done.
Do your homework.
Yeah. And the funny thing is you can infinitely tweak everything, but knowing when not to tweak something.
Well, it's like knowing when not to play. I mean, there's a paralysis of like choices, and after a while, you're like, oh man.
I'm sure my patches could be better.
Well,
but I get it done with what
yours.
I got. Yeah, but I get it done with what I have, and I don't sweat over it.
That's the beauty of it, man. It's all dialed in.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. We love it. This has been very kind of you to take the time.
Yeah, of course.
Enjoy the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Matt, thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely.
We're going to obviously delve into the low end with you.
Let's do it.
I see you got some nice looking Stingrays. Where do you want to start?
Sure, yeah. So this is my guitar vault, and I play lately, the last 6 or 7 years, I've been exclusively playing Music Man basses, and they just are the toughest, most beautifully playing basses that I've come across. And so I started playing the Stingray Specials when they came out, and I love them because for a few reasons. They're light. They're a lot lighter than the old Stingrays.
Right.
I love the 18-volt pickups. I like using the HH, they call it, configuration, because I can get sort of that, a kind of a jazz bass tone. I can move to the neck pickup and get more of a rounder P-bass-like sound, or I can get that Stingray sound. They've got a really nice
the necks are amazing
satin finish on that neck. And then I think like the number one key feature of these basses is the truss rod adjustment access right there. And so I keep a tool on stage.
Oh, really?
Because, it changes from night to
in
night.
Real time,
I'm super sensitive to that. So I'll just sometimes in the middle of a song or in between songs, I'll give it a little crank.
Well, it's so funny too, because we were talking to Clay about that too, and it's the same for you. I'm sure, like on any given night, you literally have to cover so many different things sonically. You could probably get away with most of the set with that and cover all of it, or do you? How much switching out are we doing?
So this one is tuned down a half step with the rest of the band.
Okay.
So Zach tunes all most of his
you guys are in E flat.
down.
Okay.
We're in E flat.
Got it.
And then I have my 5-string I keep in standard, just because every now and then we've got a song
It's a beast.
In E. Oh, this is beautiful. This is
gorgeous.
They had a series every year. They put out
the BFR.
The BFR.
Yeah. Those are
this
cool.
This was a BFR. I don't remember what year it was, but I really love.
That is a stunning
inlays.
instrument.
Look at that.
Holy cow!
Look at the flame on that.
Let's see. Don't even touch it.
So yeah, and I don't play a 5-string a whole lot, but it's fun to.
It's there to have,
too.
right?
And
so you say you keep that in standard, and then
I keep that in standard.
So that's like what, maybe 10% of the set, or
I would say 10 to 15%. But it does. I try to. Sometimes I'll just hang on to it and play it on a song where I don't normally play it.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny too, those guys are constantly tinkering. Like you were saying, these are lighter than some of the vintage ones. I mean, I talked to some of the guys at Music Man. They're talking about like the screws we use, the tuning pegs, like they reduce the weight. And you're thinking, what's the difference? And then you pick it up, you're like, oh, wow, there's really something to it.
Yeah, it's like going backpacking or something. Every little micro reduction in your gear makes a difference.
No, it really does.
It absolutely does not affect the sound of the bass. I think
it just makes it easier on you.
Improves it because you're physically not struggling with this weight, so it's going to sound better and feel better.
Absolutely.
And then I have this one here is it's one that
is that an old one?
Don't make anymore.
Oh, okay.
I think we're
stuck in there? I'll make sure nothing comes out with it.
This is the Music Man Cutlass.
Yeah.
Bass.
Oh,
and this
cool.
was their sort of P-bass copy.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And you got a captive up there, huh?
I have. Yeah, that's right. I had a few little minifigs. And this thing is awesome. And I've had people contact me and ask, how can I get one, or would you sell yours? Because they don't make these anymore.
Yeah, you don't see them floating around too much.
But it's awesome. This pickup is a beast. I mean, it blows away most P-bass pickups that I've heard.
That's super cool.
And then for our acoustic set, I've got the old Tacoma Thunder Chief.
Sure.
And again, they don't make Tacoma doesn't exist anymore, I don't think.
No, I don't think they do.
This is such a beautiful guitar.
Do you make any mods to these, or are these pretty much stock? And then
these are stock.
Yeah.
I haven't felt a need to change out any pickups or anything like that.
That's cool. Well, especially with the Music Man stuff. I mean, that stuff, it's just so solid right out of the box.
I do know that folks make aftermarket pickups for those.
Sure.
And I'd love to try them, but I just, it would just be for fun. I don't really see a reason to change it at this point.
Yeah, I don't think there's much you'd have to improve upon. And you even have a Sterling I see here back in the rack here, this natural guy.
Oh, this is yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, this thing, I don't even know where this...
Is that just like a backup?
Up. Yeah, it's just a backup.
I'll tell you what though, man, I mean, they've been getting better and better with that stuff, because let's face it, I mean, not everybody can afford a USA-made Music Man, and the Sterling stuff is great. I think the quality's really good.
Absolutely. And then I have my old 93 here.
Is that the oldest one in the rig?
Yes, it is. This one is a lot heavier.
Oh, yeah?
But, I think I lost one of my foam pieces too here.
We won't tell anybody. It's okay.
This is great.
What do they put the foam there for? Just like kind of a mute?
Yeah, you can raise and lower them. The original Stingrays had those.
Right. So when the guys we were talking to Clay about this, when there is something where like Zach might go, okay, we're going to do an old Merle Haggard song or maybe a Metallica song, or when that happens, how does that work on stage where you guys communicate that and you have are you just like, let's roll with it, or is it more like...
If we have never rehearsed it or something like that, yes, we just have to roll with it. A lot of times, though, a song will come in maybe within an hour before the show. Okay. That's lately, like in the early years, it might have been what you're saying, where something happens right on stage. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, within that last hour before the show, a song can still show up that we maybe have never played or have never heard. So it's a quick scramble. I always keep my AirPods on me and Apple Music ready to go, so I can listen to the song and make a chart. And I usually share that with the band.
That's you doing your homework.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I hate having to read music on stage. You want to have it memorized and know it.
And move around and enjoy it.
But we all know how to read chord charts. I use the Nashville number system when I make charts. It's really easy to move around in different keys that way.
I would imagine too that would avoid anybody having a train wreck on stage. Have you guys ever had it happen where it's like, I don't know if we pulled it off?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure. But it's kind of doing something like that is we've been playing long enough to where we know how to sort of hide the mistakes.
Okay.
It's just
like you might know it, but the crowd is like, oh, that was
they
great.
Won't. I mean, I sometimes I'll say the reason I'm even here is because I just know how to recover from a mistake gracefully.
They don't teach you that at school.
When you're playing bass, all you do is just keep sliding until you hit the right note.
So no fretlesses, I noticed either. I guess it's probably not needed in this gig.
No, I have a fretless neck for this guy that I'll occasionally pop on.
Yeah.
But no, and I think about fretless sometimes, but it never really seems that appropriate.
Yeah, that makes sense. And before I let you run, I have to know about this guy. What's his name?
Oh yeah, Yeti. What's the possum's name? Yeti. What's the possum's name?
Excuse me now?
What's the possum's name?
Doug.
Doug?
It's Doug.
This is Yeti. Say hi.
Hi, Yeti.
Hey, how you doing?
Back here.
So who dubbed Doug? Is it just because he looks like a Doug, or was it just
It's just
you dug him up somewhere?
kind of.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. He was this real plain name, Doug.
We want to show respect to all of our creatures living and formerly living.
No, he looks great.
He didn't used to look like he had another leg.
Oh, all right.
Unfortunately, we had an accident out here on the road. So we had surgery on appendage. But I mean, anybody, when they meet Doug, if we feel like they don't deserve Doug, Doug gives them a little happy message.
Oh, look at that. He's a saucy possum.
Doug greets you with a nice...
That's nice. I didn't even notice that.
This is Yeti, Chad Warden. He takes care of all my guitars and Chris Fryer's drums. So
you're spoiled.
I am spoiled.
Thank you, Yeti. We're going to check out the bass rig too. So do you want to
go.
come up with us? So the heart of your bass amp rig would be, I guess, Darkglass, or what do we?
Well, yeah, I would say the heart of the rig here is the Noble DI, and I'm sure you're all familiar with the Noble DI by this point.
It's gorgeous.
Made by Jack Rohn out in San Jose, California. He's a master craftsman at building these things. They're just insanely good, Class A, discrete tube preamps.
Yep.
And as you know, they've become very popular and hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get on a waiting list to get one, or you have to pay a premium on Reverb or some other outlet to buy a used one. So I have 3 of these. And this one, the rack mount, he only made a few of those, I think. And I found a guy in Nashville who was wanting to trade for the pedal board mount version. So I traded to get the rack mount when we were building this. So we hit the wireless, the Shure Axient wireless, which I love because it's super minimal latency.
Sure,
and
makes
a good
awesome
frequency
wireless.
response. Which, some of the wirelesses chop off some of the lower frequencies,
right? Which
I don't love that.
No, not where you live. No.
So this is a wider spectrum. We hit the Noble.
Okay.
And then from the Noble, the Noble goes straight to. Let's see. We're going to the pedal board. And the pedal board is run by the RJM Mastermind, is our pedal controller here.
Yeah.
So it's a MIDI controller.
That's beautiful.
It's been really nice to have it because I can put my pedals in a rack.
Right.
They don't get bumped or moved, and you don't have to reset them every night.
Any secret weapons floating around in that drawer?
Yeah, let's see.
Let's take a look. Yeah, for the geeks out there.
For the geeks.
Ooh, all right.
So I've got the 3-leaf octave, which is really fun to use and so tempting to turn on
and rumble the whole stage.
And rumble, but I try to use it tastefully.
Yeah.
So for the fuzz, I use the Rat Tail by Fuzz Roches, and
very cool.
They don't make them anymore as the Rat Tail because I think there was a lawsuit involved, and
that's usually how
told
it goes.
them to change the name. So now they make the Cat Tail.
Oh, okay.
But I have the Rat Tail.
So obviously,
with googly eyes,
which makes a difference tonally.
It makes a huge difference.
We're talking a kind of a multi-use rat type distortion,
right?
Okay. And then this. I mean,
the Origin Effects Cali 76
worth every penny.
Is great, and I only use it. I use it really sparingly.
Yeah.
More on. I have it set for sustain on ballads.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I don't feel the need to turn it on.
Got it.
I occasionally will use the RC boost just in a situation where the rare times where Zach says take a solo and I need a little boost.
Okay. Push it over the cliff a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Spatial delivery for the sort of auto-wah, Mutron
Get
type
that funk.
sound.
I mean, dude, Earthquaker
Which
makes such great pedals.
I rarely also get a chance to turn that on. It's mostly in soundcheck.
But
when
it's
I
there
play that.
if you need it.
Yeah, and then of course the Darkglass microtubes for some distortion when I need that, some drive.
And I noticed you're setting a lot of the Darkglass stuff relatively flat in terms of EQ.
EQ wise, yeah. I mean, I'll like, this one I've got.
A little bump.
It looks like I got a little top boost, but a little low boost too. So, when you turn those on, sometimes you lose some of the bottom end. So I try to make up for it.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, with so many guitars going on stage and fiddle and mandolin and everything else, being the only bass player, you really need to sonically, for each song, know where you're going to sit and where it's going to be comfortable in that mix. So you got to be really sensitive to that.
Right. And actually, most of my EQing I'm doing right here.
Okay.
On the bass.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then let's see here, a few others. Again, I don't get to use these in the set very often, but the Dispatch Master reverb is great, and then the Aguilar chorus.
Yeah. Get your 80s sound on with that.
Yeah, and then the Free the Tone EQ is really interesting because it's an analog EQ that's digitally controlled, so it's MIDI controlled.
That's fantastic.
So I can have patches stored in there, but it's still analog. So after our pedal board, I was wrong. We actually hit the wireless hits the pedal board first.
Okay.
Then that hits the Noble. Noble goes to the house.
Right.
And then splits out to the Darkglass Alpha Omega amp. And we actually are also sending the DI out of the amp, and I'm using the cabinet simulator that they have on there.
So that's so good, yeah.
An 810. And the reason I did that is because miking an amp on stage, it's a classic technique, but we get a lot of drum. You see where I am. I'm in between two drum sets.
Right.
We get a lot of drum bleed,
I was gonna say,
which causes a problem in post. And we always end up having to time align anyway. So the time alignment works out a lot closer using the
it's a beautiful thing. You always got your sweet spot right there, and then with the IRs, you can kind of go, I want a little bit more of an SVT feel, or maybe something different.
Yeah, I just leave it on the 8x10.
Yeah, okay.
Then the interesting thing over here is we've got a 4x10 on top, stock, and then the bottom is a custom built 2x12.
Oh, nice.
And when we were putting this together, I wanted the 2x12 on the bottom for a little bit more air, right here on stage, but I did not like the way they looked because the 2x12 was a little bit wider,
little offset
than the 4x10. So I came up in the classic days of the Eden, Hartke, Trace Elliott rigs, and all of those were the exact same width, and they all stacked up.
So aesthetics matter.
Aesthetics matter. So they were gracious enough to build me a 2x12. And the 12-inch speakers are offset.
Okay. And so it's funny because you're seeing a lot more bass players using 12s now, because typically back in the day it was 10s or 15s, and I think you get that sonic perfect middle ground with a 12.
Yeah, it's really, and ideally I'd have, another like a 15 next to this too if we had room, but
yeah, next to her.
You want the 10s. I like the 10s at my back
cut,
for the punch.
Yeah. And
then the 12s on the bottom to just sort of fill in the air around you. So that's kind of where we are with this.
Kind of. That's like all you need.
That's all I need.
And of course a tuner, because...
Of course a tuner. Yeah. I love the strobe tuners.
Was that a Peterson? Yeah, those are great.
Peterson, yep. And then I don't really have any presets built on this right now, but for the next tour that we're planning, the next show that we're planning, it'll be all
like you could do scenes
based.
and everything. Because Clay was saying the same thing. He's like, I use this more like, an actual pedal board than a multi-effect. So that makes a lot of sense.
And then the last thing is my stage talkbacks. I have two separate switches. One I can talk to just the band, and one I can talk to just the crew.
Got it. So you're staying in touch over here.
So yeah, I can call out, I'm kind of keeping an eye on any sort of technical things that might be going on, and I can tell the crew if there's a problem without having to disturb Zach.
Got it.
But then if I need to talk to Zach and the band, I'll hit the band talk.
So you
back.
got it covered.
I've got it covered.
Awesome. Well, I'm getting the high sign that we got to get you
All
out of
right.
here. But Matt, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much. I
Have a
appreciate
great show.
you. All right.
Take care. So we obviously want to give a huge shout out to Matt and Clay from Zac Brown for taking the time to talk to us today. If you want to check out some of the gear that we talked about, like Strats, Teles, Music Man basses, Darkglass amps, be sure to check us out at AmericanMusical.com. Of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't thank Doug, the dead Possum. Thank you, Doug.